and welcome back to another video in the TNL Tips series, which focuses on brief ways that you can hopefully work on some things in your Canvas class to make your life a little bit easier, save you some time all the while. So today we'll talk about the Rich Content Editor in Canvas, and the Rich Content Editor really is the way that you input data into your class. Every form of data ranging from videos to text to hyperlinks to including different types of assignments, images, all the kind of stuff you could expect to use, say, in a word processing software is replicated here in the Rich Content Editor. So I'll take you through what it looks like, how you use it, and some of the ways that you can learn some tricks using it, particularly identifying the various icons, realizing all the while that we've changed this over the years. They've adapted it based on suggestions in the Canvas user groups discussion boards. So let's jump onto Canvas now and see what you're getting into with the Rich Content Editor. All right, so as we take a look at the Rich Content Editor, I think one thing to say is that it's really one of the most important aspects of Canvas you will cover and deal with in your work here at the college. It's basically the tool that you use to create everything in your class. It could be discussions, it could be assignments, announcements, certainly pages, certainly page content for your modules. So it's really important to have a sense of understanding of what you're getting into in terms of using this tool. I would say the analogy is not unlike Microsoft Word. In fact, if I open Word right now, the good news is there's some familiarity that we have already with what we're working with here in the Rich Content Editor. So here's Word, and as you can see here, just like in Microsoft Word and the Rich Content Editor, we're going to see very familiar menus. They're very much iconic, graphically derived menus, so you see things like dictation in Word has a microphone, so things that we understand, and the same applies for things like fonts. So that's kind of the good news, is we're familiar a little bit with this structure. Now, one of the challenging things about the Rich Content Editor, and we'll look at exactly what the breakdown of this screen is, but you're going to notice that you have a menu option up here, and then you have more icons here. In some cases, some things do the same one in the other. So if I click Table here, I'm going to see Cell, Row, Column, Table Properties, Delete Table. I'm going to click this, and exact same thing, Cell, Row, Column, Table Properties, Delete Table. It's not always the case, though, that things that appear here in this menu also appear here. And that's one important thing about learning your Rich Content Editor, and it almost falls into what I would call muscle memory, where you just remember that if you want to type text, you just start typing. If you want to bold, you click bold, and so forth. And some of these you're not going to use. I am never going to use in any of my teaching an equation editor, but one of our math teachers is using this all the time. And so it's really like everything in Canvas, just use the items in the RCE, the Rich Content Editor, that you need and that you need to use most in your classes. The thing I want to mention is that when you start working with the PDF here that I've created for you, you'll get to click on these light bulbs. It'll take you to, in some cases, the Canvas content that is a tutorial about this. I'm adding another one to this particular. You're going to see two light bulbs when this is done, because University of Pittsburgh has a really good discussion of how the Rich Content Editor has changed over time. So if you're one of those folks like me, you've been teaching for a long time at the college, you actually saw a big shift, I believe it was last January, a little bit earlier with the beta testing, in which we shifted from the old Rich Content Editor to the new one. So if you're shifting to the new one, and a few faculty have mentioned this to me, you kind of have some struggles with figuring out, well, where did things go, and how do I insert a YouTube video, and so forth. So that's why it's important just to go in, do a deep dive. You can find things. Again, things can be done in multiple places. You can do stuff with media here, as well as here, as well as here. So you just have to really kind of go in and see exactly what you're dealing with and where to find the content or the tool really that you need to create your content. Let me show you one other item here. So what I did was I tried to create my own chart just for my own sensibilities about the Rich Content Editor to figure out exactly where everything is found. And you can always pause the video here and just kind of take a screenshot of this. It'd be very easy to do that. But this will almost give you a sense of where things are found within this miniature landscape of the RCE. So very basic down here you have, and we're going to go through all this in real time, you have options. Of course, this is your add and preview content window. This is your creation window, very easy, just like that blank Microsoft Word document I had loaded up a second ago. You have your format content menu where you could choose insertion of options and items. You also have the toolbar. Again, keep in mind some duplication, but there are things you can do in here that you can't do here. For example, you can do a horizontal line insert here under the insert menu. As far as I know, you can't do that under any of these options. So again, it's not really maybe the best GUI design, graphic user interface design, to have it this way, but I think it's pretty good. I give it, an A- overall because it does have some of that replication of menu structures you see in Word and PowerPoint and other software that we're familiar with. So again, the format content menu has all the drop downs. You will title, if this is a page, you title it here. And this is your toolbar. It includes text formatting on the left. Really, links, images, media, and documents are here through here. The apps are only found in that little plug-in electrical plug icon. Anything like alignment of paragraphs, left, right, center, justification, any list with bullets, either numbered or bulleted lists, will be here, and then your indent feature would be here. These are miscellaneous items. We'll go through each of these that include things like the equation editor and inserting a table. And then down here you have what I'm calling other. You have some HTML write-up, you have a word count, and word count is also available, I believe, under the tools feature. So again, it's kind of duplicated. You have keyboard shortcuts, the accessibility checker, which is really cool, that we'll take a look at. HTML write-up, as I mentioned, full screen. And if you see this, by the way, I'll demo this. This basically allows you, if the window is too small for what you're looking at, you drag that down, and we'll look at this in real time, and that allows you to see the full content in your Add Preview content window. So that's kind of the lowdown on what you're getting into as far as the overall structure. But the best thing, as we're going to do here, is to go in and look at this live. So as I mentioned here, if you start working with the menu, you'll see you'll find things like cut, copy, paste, paste as text, select all. Some of this you could do with keyboard shortcuts that are the universal ones that you typically see in Microsoft Word and other programs. You can also do select all. Again, that's almost universally a control or option A in most programs that I've seen. Now, speaking of keyboard shortcuts, you can also click here and pull up these shortcuts, which allow you to maybe do some time saving. You have other shortcuts that can be found on this tiny URL link, so you can click on that. And I'm just finding this all inside of my Canvas RCE, the Rich Content Editor. And speaking of shortcuts, at any time, if you want to pull up that keyboard shortcuts icon, you can do Shift plus question mark. You can also open the menu using Alt F8 on a PC keyboard, Option Function F8 key simultaneously on a Mac keyboard. So if you really want to do that, you can also do some of these additional shortcuts to pull up the keyboard shortcuts menu very quickly, or you can just click it there. So again, shortcuts can be really good to maybe minimize some of the time that you spend. So going back to this menu, so we can see some of those shortcuts are here. That's your edit. So undo and redo, cut, copy, paste. And in a lot of cases, these aren't available here. Now, keep in mind, if I type a word here, I can go to this menu, I can click undo, and it disappears. But I can also select it or hit my back key 4 times, right? So you have some options. It's really about the ergonomics of your workspace. How you work with software is probably going to determine very much how you work with either using the menu here or more the icon-driven buttons here. The view option is either full screen or HTML, and so that really replicates what's here. That's full screen and that's HTML. We'll do some videos later about HTML write-up. But anytime you go to that, if you don't know HTML or how to insert code, you can't really mess things up. It's not an issue. You're not going to destroy your computer if you do that. But you can decide if you want to use it or not. Anytime you want to go back to it, just click that icon and you go back to the regular RCE editor. Again, this scroll option here, if you see that, I've seen it sometimes at the top too. In some windows, it just allows you to increase the preview size content. If you don't have a lot of content there, you don't have to mess with it, and you can leave it minimized if you like. Again, it's all the ergonomics of your software workspace. The insert menu is going to really have a lot of those duplications we see here, with I think the exception of horizontal line. If you find this somewhere else up here, let me know, because I haven't found it. So you can insert links, you can do images, media, documents, equations, tables, and embed. I personally like using the same here. So if we had the insert, we can actually see that, okay, we can do a lot of what is happening there under these icons here. So we kind of know that's a universal icon for a link. We can insert external or internal links. This is for an image and so forth. And then down here, we have the embed code. We have the equation editor, which again I wouldn't use, but the math teachers would use, inserting a table. And then this icon here, it's pretty handy to know, that's going to be your clear formatting. So what you could do is if I made this bold text and I hit clear formatting, it will change that to plain text. So that could be pretty handy if you want to just simplify things, like if you've created a lot of formatted text. And that could also come up with the accessibility checker, which is here. And just to mention down here, again, a lot of handy content, particularly the word counter, which allows you to see how much you're writing in terms of the content. So as I mentioned, in terms of the insert menu, you can do it from here. You can always also do it mostly from these icons. The formatting menu will have everything also that's really in this area with text formatting. So that will include things like bolding, underline, super and subscript, coding, strike through text, and additional formats here that you're going to find with creating specific text headings that you can reuse in different sections. You can also change the font here, change directionality, alignment, font sizes, really everything, text color, background color, clear formatting. And all of this is super easy to use, so anything that you do, you click and it'll change the format of your text to yellow. It didn't because I didn't have that selected. I could also do that from these same menus. So again, the format menu really covers not everything, but a lot of what's here, and also this icon here with the clear formatting. So it's totally up to you if you want to use the menu-driven approach or more the icon-driven. So that's the formatting menu. The tools will be really two things. It's the word count, which we have also here. So if we click word count, it'll tell us a little bit more. It breaks it down also into characters and cutting out spaces, what that looks like versus just pure words here. So a little more detailed. And then the apps is also what you see with this icon. And the good news is, check this out, they preserve the icons. So we know that the electrical cord plug is for apps, and indeed it's the same here. And you see the exact same apps available there. And then also table, so I can insert the table, and as I said, it's the exact same options for the table here. So there's no difference. It's really a matter of muscle memory, what you're comfortable with, what you're used to. So I think over time, make a decision and you can use both, of course. You may have reasons to use just the edit menu because you can't really do editing from here. You can, of course, do editing from your keyboard and also through using various hot commands on your keyboard that you might use in your word processing software. So going through this particular navigation row here, again, we talked about this. This has things like your paragraph and different headings. This has your font size, bold, italics, underline, text color, background color, superscript, subscript, which I never use, but again, folks in the sciences may use these a lot more. Certain features. This is anything for a link. So if I want a link, all I do is select the text. I click on course link, and this handy window pops up on the side. So I want to link that to one of my pages. Taking a second to load up here. Maybe my academic dishonesty and plagiarism policy. I click that. And anytime with links now in Canvas, they have this nice pop-up. So you click on it and it gives you either remove link or link options. So I can change the text of what I want it to call, what I want it called rather. So I might call it policy. Okay. And then this is good. We're getting an accessibility issue. So you can see here, actually we didn't. I'll show you one that will happen, one on purpose. So now that I hit save, my content is saved in that page. And if I click that link, you'll see it takes me then to my academic and dishonesty plagiarism policy. So super easy to use. And that applies for external and internal links. So once again, all I would have to do on that is I could actually remove the link in this case, relink it. So I'll go back to my icon and I'll choose external link. I type in whatever external link I have and then it'll take the user to that place. Really easy to use. This is to insert an image. It could be uploading a new image, course or user images. Very easy to use. This would be course media, user media, upload, record media. I'm going to recommend here that you probably don't use this particular choice because Canvas Studio is a little more sophisticated. So there's an image of me. I can start recording that if I want, but for right now, I would just choose Canvas Studio, which is located here. And I will click on that, and then that will give me all my options to record via Canvas Studio any number of videos that I want to record, or I can insert Canvas Studio videos. It's taking a while to load here today. And keep in mind, the cool thing about Canvas Studio is not that it's just easy to use and very smart in terms of its features and functions. You can create collections, for example, but it allows you to do video quizzes, which you can't do. I'm just going to hit OK on that with this particular feature, which is the course media or upload record media. So I would almost bypass this for the sake of doing Canvas Studio. Way better and easier to use. This is going to be course documents. In the old days, I think thought of these as files. So there's a little bit of like, they're calling a file the same as a document. So maybe that's a naming convention they might want to look at changing or something, but who knows? But that's where your files would all be located. Now going down here, we get into a little repetition because we get another version of uploading and embedding an image as we see available here, and also in, as we saw, our image insert image tool here. Now if you're used to like in your brain insert image, insert file, insert link, then again maybe your mind takes you to insert and you go there and use that, as opposed to you don't think iconically or graphically by inserting an image via this particular icon. So it's really up to you, but I think that's the intent of the Canvas designers, is they want to give us a choice between graphic and then more text-based and menu-driven. So totally your choice. Again, this is your app option. So clicking on this, you can also get to Canvas Studio. So again, redundancy, we can get to Canvas Studio here, here, and also here under Tools. So 3 places. So confusing, is that good from a GUI perspective, software design perspective? You can debate that, I guess. People in software classes debate this kind of stuff. User interaction is a big field, interesting field. I've looked into a little bit myself, but it's just something to get used to. So keep in mind, if I want to get to Canvas Studio, I could go here, here, or I'm forgetting myself, or here under Tools. So I always just go right here for Canvas Studio. I would never do this because I've gone from one click to a click, a select, and a second click. So I'm doing 3 operations here. I'm doing 3 operations here versus 1 here. So I'm going to go for the easiest one, the shortcut. So again, totally up to you, but it's just an idea of both muscle memory and maybe reducing repetitive stress. I mean, it's kind of funny talking about it, but carpal tunnel and all sorts of syndromes related to working on computers is something definitely to think about when we're doing clicks and mouse movements and so forth. Now here's all your formatting. So you can choose your text if you want it to be say center aligned, you click there. If you want it to be right justified there, and then kind of typical left justification there. You can also turn things into bulleted lists so you can start typing, and then the nice thing is the keyboard will continue. I use the list feature a lot with bullet points because I figure students like it. And you saw there actually, as long as you're continuing to, you hit your return key and you add more text, it will add another bullet. The minute I do not add text here and I just hit a return, it goes away. So that's kind of easy. You don't have to go on and unselect the bulleted list. It just knows that if there's blank text here, it will not do another bullet. Whereas if there is text there, it will continue to do it ad infinitum until you finish typing. So those are your options, and it's just formatting options if you want numbers, and as you see, changing it on the fly, you go from Roman numerals to bullet points, rounded versus square bullets, and so forth. Super easy to use in the Rich Content Editor. Again, I think it's a breeze to use. It's very well designed overall. And then this is your indent. So if you want to indent text, you just keep clicking that, and the text will continue to indent. If I want to go back to previous state, I could hit undo or clear formatting, because again, that's a text format. Anything that you do, and you can actually see that, the HTML editor is really handy because this is like the black box approach. I click something and I don't see the state that this is in other than graphically. But if I want to look at the coding side of things and I click HTML, all of a sudden I can see that padding information or the alignment information is telling exactly where the text should be on the screen. And you don't normally see that, but that's what HTML is doing. It's kind of like the circulatory system in our bodies that we don't see, but it causes everything to function in the way that it should. So a little bit of an analogy there today. And then here is your table functions if you want to insert a table, equation editor, and embed codes that you might have, which you could also do with your HTML editor here too. So those are the main features, I think, of this. I know it's kind of a lengthy overview of this, but there's a lot that goes into the RCE, into the Rich Content Editor. Again, down here, you can choose options. Teachers can edit, teachers and students, or anyone. So if you want more of a wiki structure that students can work on, then you could certainly click teachers and students, and then you could collaborate with wiki content, if you will, in real time as you work through the class. Now, I did mention one thing I forgot right here, and that's the accessibility checker. That's super important. So let me show you how this works. Let's pick something that is a bad accessibility no-no, and that would be typing a text and then making it like red. So let's do that. And a lot of readers can't read colored text. So check it out. Immediately, look at that. That is so slick. Immediately, a 1 comes up. I click on the accessibility checker, and lo and behold, change text color. Check text smaller than 18-point font or bold 14 point should display minimum contrast ratio 4:5:1. And then I do not want this text color. So the cool thing is you can change it here. And let's see, will it, I'll actually just pick black, and I think that might work. Let me try and hit apply. Not let me do it. I was just trying to choose a color. Maybe it's the darkness. Okay, yeah. So now it's working. If I move it into here, it still likes it. So this is your contrast or brightness, I guess. And if you get it too far in that territory, which you see the values here, the color, and also, I guess this is brightness or contrast. It must be contrast ratio. Once you get in the right range, that goes away. Okay, so that's really cool. I would hit apply, and I'm done. I probably wouldn't want purple text, so again, I could hit undo. Or clear formatting, I have to actually select it, and then it's gone, back to black. So again, the accessibility checker is really great. I recommend it after you create content that you just take a look. You don't even have to click on it. It automatically flags it with any issues with a red numeral there that tells you how many issues you have to fix, and it'll allow you to go in and fix it. So definitely use the accessibility checker. It is amazing in terms of what it does in terms of creating accessible content for all of our students. And then I didn't show you this, but that's the full screen option. If you're kind of stuck in here and you're like, how do I get out of full screen? Go to View. It's not intuitive. I wonder if you hit Escape if it'll work. Oh, it does. Okay, so two options there. So go to full screen, go to your Edit menu. Sorry, go to the View menu, click full screen off, and then it goes back. Or click full screen, and on my keyboard, you can't see this, hit escape, and it goes back to the normal view. So full screen is nice sometimes if you want to see a really big version of what you're working on. It allows you more opportunity to look at the content on the screen. So I think that covers everything in the Rich Content Editor today. As always, if you have questions, please reach out, and I'll be happy to get back to you. Okay, that's it today here in the TNL Tips video, focused specifically on the Canvas Rich Content Editor. Please come back for additional videos in this TNL Tips video series.